It's been 3 months since Apple released their iPhone 12 lineup, and now that all the hype has started to die down, let's talk about what's changed, what we might have been wrong about, if you should buy the iPhone 12 instead of a 12 Pro or a cheaper 11, and the biggest issue that I have with this phone that is partially available. And at the end of the day, if you should just wait for the iPhone 13. When Apple launched 4 phones earlier this year, I thought that the 12 was almost redundant, mixed in with the cheaper and smaller iPhone 12 mini that people were asking for years, and the iPhone 12 Pro, which seemed to offer a lot more for not that big of a price hike, especially after that hidden $30 activation charge that Apple and some carriers tacked on without mentioning it at the event, which I'm still salty about, and you should be too. I figured that the iPhone 12 wouldn't be anywhere near as hot of a seller as the iPhone 11, simply because it's no longer at that great price point of $699, but instead costs up to $130 more, and the iPhone 11 is still available now for $599, but now that sales figures are out, the outcome is interesting. I figured that a lot of budget-minded people would still go for the 11 since it's still a very capable phone with a fast chip and dual cameras just like the 12, and at the same time, the 12 has never been as close to the price point of the Pro model. Last year, the 11 Pro cost $300 more than the 11, and even if you upgraded to 128 gigabytes of storage, it was still $250 more. This year, the iPhone 12 could be up to $830, and then if you bump up your storage, you're spending $880, meaning that the 12 Pro costs only $120 more. So should you just buy a Pro? Well, let's see what else you're getting. Starting off with the most noticeable differences, you're getting a very premium stainless steel frame that almost no other brands offer. Not only does it look good, but it also offers more protection and less noticeable scratches and dents compared to aluminum. Now you do lose the wide variety of color options, but you get the more premium ones like the Pacific Blue or Gold. The back looks a lot sleeker as well with the matte glass finish that is fingerprint resistant, and the camera cutout is glossy for a really clean look. And of course, the biggest differences come in the camera department. Along with the standard and wide camera, we have a telephoto lens for zoom shots and a LiDAR sensor which is used for AR. Not only that, but the Pro can shoot Dolby Vision at up to 60 frames per second instead of 30, and you can also shoot Apple ProRAW, which are both just software locks since the 12 and 12 mini have the same camera sensors and processors. Now 3 months ago, I thought that these extra features clearly made the iPhone 12 Pro worth the extra money, and Apple was shooting themselves in the foot by raising the iPhone 12 price by so much compared to the previous year. And at the same time, Apple is offering the iPhone 12 mini, which is basically the same phone but with a smaller display for $100 less, and the only downside that I noticed is battery life, and even still, it's only about a 1 hour difference of screen on time, and with my use, I have to charge both during the day anyway, so it seemed like another great option if you don't want to go for the Pro, since almost everything else is the same. So now that we've had some time, did the iPhone 12 turn out to be the odd middle child, or did Apple know what they were doing? Here's what ended up happening. First off, sales figures started coming out, and even though Apple fans were begging for another small flagship phone for years, the iPhone 12 mini turned out to be an absolute flop. And in my video about why the iPhone 12 mini failed, I talked about a few issues that we had with the phone and why I could no longer use it. The biggest issue among the list was the 5G antenna. Even though it has the same exact specs as the 12, the reception was noticeably worse, and in multiple areas where I had service with the bigger iPhones, I didn't with the 12 mini, and that was the biggest deal breaker for me. But for most people, I think the size is just way too small now. Apple has been focusing on large phones for years now, and even though it is a pain getting used to a larger phone, once you're used to it, it is very hard, even harder, to go back to something smaller. Because of that, the 12 mini sales have been so low at only about 5% of the total iPhone sales that Apple will now have to pay Samsung for the lack of volume of these OLED displays. So it turns out most people are skipping the mini, but what about the Pro? Well, sales figures have shown that the iPhone 12 Pros account for about 20% of total iPhone sales, and that seemed to be a total of 20%, so it's split between the phones, and if I had to guess, I would say that the Max model will pull more of that 20% just because it's the only one that has that larger display and the extra features. Now go ahead and take a guess how much of the total iPhone sales, including the older iPhone models, the standard iPhone 12 captured. Go ahead and comment down below. The iPhone 12 was 27% of total iPhone sales. Not only that, but because of the iPhone 12, Apple once again became #1 in phone sales for the first time since 2016 and had a revenue of over $100 billion for the first time ever. So it looks like you guys out there spoke with your wallets and the iPhone 12 became the king of the iPhones, selling roughly 3 times more than the Pro. It's crazy. So the question is, why is that? And would I as a reviewer still recommend spending the extra cash on the Pro like I did before, or maybe saving money and get the 11, or maybe if you're on the fence, so just don't even upgrade this year and wait for the 13. Let me start out by saying that there is no way that I would buy an 11 even if the price is so tempting. Sure, the camera hardware is basically the same, but the A14 processor has made a huge difference, especially in ultra-wide shots, and the new design not only makes it look modern, but it's also thinner and smaller, although the screen is the same size, and the OLED screen is so much better than the LCD from before. Real-world battery life has also improved, but the biggest difference for me is that the modem not only allows for full sub-6, mid-band, and millimeter wave support, so this phone is future-proof in that aspect, but it also has much faster regular LTE that has had much better reception than the iPhone 11s. Now what about the Pro models? If we skip the stainless steel and the cleaner looks, the biggest thing that pushed me towards them are the better cameras, since the display is pretty much exactly the same, other than a little bit of artificial brightness limitation, which isn't noticeable most of the time. Now while I do really like having a third telephoto camera, and I thought that I would always want one, I've recently found that shooting standard photos and cropping in seems to be resulting in noticeably better photos than before. Now I'm not sure if Apple has been quietly updating the algorithm or using diffusion more often, but the photos coming out look fantastic. Now sure, if you want to zoom in 10 times, you are going to see a bigger difference, but a 2x zoom shot looks quite good with the standard iPhone 12 lens. As for portrait shots, I've been using the 1x lens way more often than the telephoto because images turn out so clean compared to the zoomed in one. And the one thing that I thought I would miss the most is taking nighttime portraits, but going back over my camera roll, it turns out that I don't actually take them very often, so maybe I wouldn't miss them as much as I expected. Looking over how I've been using my Pro and seeing how much better the 12 sales are, it seems like most people either don't want to spend more, or maybe they just don't really need the extra features that come with the Pro model. And looking back, I think that most people would be happy with the 12. The compromises aren't as bad as I expected, and one thing that I am really appreciating now more than ever is just how surprisingly lightweight it feels compared to the Pro, which is much heavier, all while still feeling very premium. The iPhone 12 gives you so much more this year than Apple has in previous years. You get that perfect all-around screen size for most people, a gorgeous high-res OLED display, and the same exact antennas and modem as the Pro phones, which it was never that case before, so there are way less compromises this year than before. Now sure, the cost did go up by up to $129, but I think that the price increase is definitely justified for a much more future-proof phone. My only complaint about it would be the software lock camera features such as the ProRAW and the 60 FPS Dolby Vision, and the only hardware issue that I have with it is Apple's ceramic shield that they are advertising right now, which is tougher, but it scratches much easier than before, and that's not an issue with just this phone, it's with all of the iPhone 12, so I would highly recommend a $10 screen protector, which I'll go ahead and link down in the video description below. And finally, should you wait to buy an iPhone 13 instead? Now, in my opinion, the answer is no. The biggest improvements, like ProMotion for example, will likely be coming only to the Pro versions, and we will still have this notch next year. It just might be getting slightly smaller. Battery life will get slightly better as well, but overall the upgrade will be much smaller and much less significant than going from an iPhone XR or an 11 to the iPhone 12. Overall, the iPhone 12 has been an absolute killer for Apple and for the masses as well, with tons of my personal friends upgrading to them and being super happy with it, even if they went from a more premium iPhone 10 or 10s, and 3 months later, this phone is looking even better than before. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts down below. Would you spend the extra on an iPhone 12 Pro, or maybe just buy a mini instead? I wanna see your guys' opinions. If you wanna see our video and all the leaks and rumors for the iPhone 13, we have that video right over there. This has been Max, and I'll catch you in the next video.